What's up, guys? It's me, Tony G, coming to you again from my basement. Obviously, there's no live poker on the East Coast right now. It's about May 27th today, the date of the recording this, and I want to put content out for you guys. So I decided I'm going to do a top 5 favorite poker hands over the last 2.5 years that I've been doing this vlog. So they may not be the most well-played hands. They may not be your favorite hands from the vlog, but they're my favorite hands. So let's get into it. All right, real quick, before we get into these hands, I just want to say if you guys are new here, do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button, hit the bell notification to get notified of all my vlogs. If you guys have been here before, appreciate you coming back. Love all the support. Thank you guys so much for helping me get to 500 subscribers. I'm pushing my way towards 1,000. Let's go get it. And let's get into the top 5 hands. Okay, first stop is going to be Dover Downs Hotel and Casino. This hand was filmed at a cash session the last day that they were open before the coronavirus or COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, shut everything down. I happened to be up that way for work and I stayed the night, so I played a little bit of cash poker. Here we go.
About an orbit later, I have the ace of diamonds, the 8 of diamonds. I'm in the small blind. It gets raised up to $5, and I decide to go ahead and call the $5, and we are 4 ways to the flop. The flop comes out pretty decent for us. It is the ace of hearts, the jack of diamonds, and the 9 of clubs. I decide to throw out a small bet of $5. The big blind folds, and we are now 3 ways to the turn. The turn is the 8 of clubs, giving us 2 pair. I throw out a bet of $15. One guy folds, and the cutoff throws out his 15. We're heads up to the river. The river is the 10 of diamonds. The cutoff has been betting with almost no hands all day, trying to push people around. So I was going to see if he could call an all-in bet. I decided to go all in for about 71 effective. He asks for a count. Dealer counts it out, says 71. Cutoff says, okay, you probably got it. Go ahead and call ya. He flips over his cards and he says, do you got it or do you not got it? So I said, yeah, I got it. I have 2 pair. And I decide to flip over my cards. He sees that has been beat by ace 8 2 pair, and he showed jack king. So he had hit the flop and just continued betting the whole way. We take down a really, really good pot there in a 1-2 game.
All right, so the second hand comes to you from Hollywood Casino in Perryville, Maryland. This was a hand where a guy was just berating me every hand that I played with him and the way I went about my hand. I tried to explain to him I wasn't a professional poker player. I was a wreck, just messing around, having a good time, but he didn't care. He had been drinking a little bit and whatnot. But so my second hand is from Hollywood Casino, Perryville, Maryland. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Okay, a little background here on the gentleman to my left. He is under the gun in this hand. He just beat me the previous hand for a couple thousand in chips, and prior to that he beat me on another small pot, which he berated me on the line that I took to that pot. So that's a little background on that. But in this hand, I have the queen of clubs, the queen of spades. I'm in the big blind. We're in like level 3 or 4 at this point. Blinds are 300, 600. And the under the gun raises to 12. I decide to call the 1200 with queens. We are 3 ways to the flop, and the flop comes out the 7 of diamonds, the jack of diamonds, and the 7 of spades. I decide to put out a bet of 1200. The under the gun and the middle position calls, so we are still 3 ways to the turn. And the turn comes out the 5 of clubs, I believe, which really doesn't help me out at all, and I don't think it helps out any of the other players in the hand. I put out a bet of 2,400, and once again, the under the gun puts in his bet of 2,400 for the call, and so does middle position. The river is the queen of diamonds, putting 3 to the flush out, but also giving me the full house. I check, trying to induce a bet by a flush or maybe even trips. The under the gun decides to put out a bet of 3,600. The middle position now decides to go all in, and I guess I Hollywood a little bit, knowing that I have the nuts. Nobody else is going to beat me. I look at my cards, fiddle with some chips, and mainly to piss off the guy to my left who is under the gun, and I know he's not going to fold because I think he's got the flush. And ultimately, I decide to just end my shenanigans and go ahead and call. The under the gun also called, and he learns that he has the ace-high flush, but also I have the full house, and I take down a very good pot with 2 all-ins.
For the third hand, this is going to be one of the more special hands for me. It's the first time I've ever gotten quads in live poker. It was at Live Hotel and Casino in, I think, second or third quarter of 2017. I think it was the fall of 2017. I was playing a satellite to get into the WPT event a couple weeks later at Live. Here we go. So several hands later, I wind up getting 55 in middle position. The under the gun +1 makes it 1,400 pre-flop, and I believe there were 4 callers to call to the flop. The flop does wind up coming out 5, 5, 8 rainbow, so I flopped the stone cold nuts. It checks to the button, who bets 800, I believe. One player does fold, and I act like I'm thinking for a minute. I'm tanking. I do wind up calling the 800. The cutoff folds, and now we are heads up to the turn, and the turn winds up being a 9 of diamonds. I wind up betting 2,000. The gentleman on the button goes all in, and I'll let you listen to the rest here.
Never mind. This one has been
Are you serious?
Good hand.
Are you serious?
Good hand.
Damn.
I was already counting my money.
Of course you were. You flopped the nut.
Oh, man.
Now you figure out it's the second nut. Oh my God, this is horrible.
Hell of a hand, sir.
This is horrible. Look at that, sir.
Jesus.
Jesus. Woo. That's a great flop right there.
If I had to lose, I'd just do.
All right, this fourth hand comes from a very special session. It was back in December of 2019. Andrew Nemi and Brad Owen came to Maryland Live Hotel and Casino and had a meetup game, or as they call them, the Mugs. And we had record-breaking 23 tables of 3-5 no limit. Guys like Johnny Vibes showed up, raising the nuts, Matt Vaughn. I was there, obviously. But this hand here, I got into it with an Asian guy a couple times, and he wanted me to call him the Asian donkey or something to that effect. And I had him beat the whole way this time, and I wasn't letting go. And ultimately, he decided to call me, and it was probably a mistake. I hope you guys enjoy this hand. Okay, several orbits later, after I've had my aces cracked twice, once by the guy that I get in this hand with, I have the ace of diamonds, the queen of diamonds. I'm in the small blind,
It limps. I raise to $20. 2 others call. We are 3 ways to the flop. As you can see, the flop came out the 4 of diamonds, the 5 of hearts, and the 7 of diamonds. I decide to bet $20 with the flush draw. Eventually, after some tanking by 1 or 2 other guys at the table, they both decide to call. One of them is a middle-aged Asian gentleman, very fun to play with. He's the guy that cracked my aces once on the river with a full house versus my straight. So we're up to the turn here. The turn is the Ace of Hearts, which is a good card for me. I decide to put out a bet of $50. Guy goes 50. Okay, I'll call. The Asian gentleman, he decides to call, and we're still 3 ways to the river. The river doesn't really do too much for me except help me decide to go all in, which is what I do. The river is the Jack of Spades, and like I said, I decide to go all in. After I go all in, the under the gun +1 decides to fold, and the gentleman who told me to call him the Asian donkey and told me to get this on film, and I'll let you listen from here.
Horn blocks. Nothing.
How much? Let me think about it. Put in the video. Put in the video. The donkey, 180. The donkeys are thinking about calling 180. Is it really donkey or no?
No way.
You ain't getting me this time on the river, Mr. Donkey. I can tell you that. All right, for the 5th hand, this is when a couple buddies and I, in 2018, went up to Atlantic City for my birthday. It was probably right around October when my birthday is. We stayed at the Harrah's Resort Hotel and Casino, and I played in the night tournament with my buddy Andrew, and it was the 2nd time ever getting quads in live poker, and it was also my biggest cash in live poker, and it was a great night. I couldn't run bad in this tournament. It went on till 3 in the morning. A $75 night tournament went on for like 9 hours. It was crazy because there are no antes, no big blind antes. They hadn't installed any of that yet into the game. So let's get into it. Hope you guys enjoy it. Hands before the final table. I'm in the big blind with 10-10. My camera malfunctioned and didn't start recording until the flop was out. The player in the middle position bets something ridiculous like 40,000 with Queen Jack with 1 diamond, and I called. After I call, the turn is a 4 of clubs. The player in middle position goes all in. I call. We flip up our cards, and the river card is a 10, completing my quad 10s, and I take down the pot. All right, well, we couldn't do top 5 because there is one more hand that I had to throw in here. It's pretty special to me. May not mean a lot to you guys watching because a lot of people have done this and have been on this list for a while, but I'm leaving you with a sixth and final hand. The hand is right after the money bubble of the live casino, 100K guarantee, $100 buy-in, great value. And it's the first time that I bagged a tournament, made day 2 of a tournament, and I made it on the Hendon Mob. I'll leave the description and the link to the Hendon Mob down below. And this hand isn't really that special. I did get a full house, but it's the hand right after the money bubble. And I hope you guys enjoy it.
Hendon Mob, baby, let's go!
Okay, in my first or second hand after the bubble, money bubble that is, I have the Queen of Diamonds, the Queen of Clubs in middle position. The small blind raises up to 22,000. I decide just a flat call. We are 3 ways to the flop, I believe, and the flop is the 10 of hearts, the Queen of spades, and the 6 of diamonds. And it checks around to the turn, and the turn is the King of hearts. The small blind bets 23,000, I believe. I basically call right away after the dealer counts it out, and obviously we are still heads up to the river, and the river is the 10 of diamonds, giving me the full house now at this point. So I decide to go ahead and bet 25,000, and he basically looks at his cards and folds right away, and we take down that pot.
Guys, I want to thank you for stopping by and watching this vlog. I really appreciate it. I know it wasn't anything crazy. These are some of my favorite hands over the last 2.5 years, like I said. Do me a favor, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you liked, tell me what you didn't like. And if you didn't, hit that subscribe button. And like I said before, hopefully I'll see you guys from a live casino soon, somewhere on the East Coast, playing some poker, cash or tournament at this point. I don't care. Thanks for stopping by. See you guys in the next episode.